Hello, so today is the 3rd of April, so it is Good Friday effectively. It's the Friday of the Easter weekend in the UK, but obviously this is referring to the Lunar Tao by Damien Dao, and we are going through day by day of the Chinese calendar. So today is actually the spring equinox in China. So equinox obviously mean, if you take equa meaning as an equal, so it's a time, seen to be the day where you have equal measures of light and dark, or daytime and nighttime. So theoretically 12 hours day, 12 hours night. Not necessarily going to be exactly that, but that is the premise of the equinox. So in the UK, obviously different part of the planet, very different sort of, a long way away, but it's our equinox was on the 20th of March, so about 15 days ago. So today is the spring equinox in China, and it is effectively, there's a couple of, so when we're looking at spring, so I'll give you some TCM stuff, some traditional Chinese medicine, so Taoist, historically origin medicine, and ways of looking at the body. So whenever we talk about meridians, whenever we talk about the 12 main meridians, the 8 extraordinary meridians, and Chinese herbology and acupuncture, acupressure, this all comes from Taoism, or has its roots deeply from Taoism. So, when we look at springtime, so say, so I'm staring at the book. So when we look at springtime, we are talking about the colour green. Everything starts coming back into life. Everything starts growing. But the things that are affiliated with the colour green and with springs is the liver and the gallbladder. So they're also affiliated with energetically and emotionally with growth, but growth in the sense of your own moving forwards and achieving, if that is the right word, but your own expansion into life and learning and progressing and expanding out into the world and doing what you feel you are here to do, that kind of thing. So we have now just come out of winter. Winter is that kind of hibernation time. Winter would be affiliated with the colour blue. It's all to do with the kidneys and the bladder, and that is very much more to do with rest time. So whenever people get bags under their eyes, that's a key sign of kidney being overworked, and we're tapping into resources rather than resting. So if you've still got these kind of things here at this time, yeah, we might want to do a bit more rest. But now is springtime. Now is the time where we're starting to kick into action. In China, obviously, it's now the equinox, but obviously spring started a good 15 days ago, 16 days ago, etc. Or technically, according to the Chinese New Year, February 1st is technically the beginning of plants starting to wake up. But okay, so we are in the apricot moon. The insects are awake. They're starting to cross-pollinate, scent blossoms and stuff, and effectively that. So there are a couple of exercises. Well, there's an exercise in here, in this book, Damien Dao's book, The Lunar Tao, which is for, interestingly enough, it's more for the upper body. So when we talk about gallbladder and liver, especially gallbladder, we are also talking about sinews. We're also talking about ligaments and tendons. So this frustration that comes from not progressing through life or being held back by someone who is domineering, that kind of thing, can over time have an issue or create issues with the gallbladder meridian and the liver meridian. And it has all this anger, frustration, internalized anger, which is something that is very destructive as well. Can cause something called internal winds, as can external winds and everything else. There's all kind of things with, you would look at sort of like if you caught a cold but it became pneumonia and that became pathogenic and it set and it created a distortion, that would definitely be internal wind. But also internal wind can be things like Parkinson's, that kind of stuff, things that cause jitters and all that kind of stuff, and tremors and like tics. Like people, I am one of these people who every now and then has like little, especially around here around the occiput, I have all these kind of tension headaches. And today, because I woke up with a cold, because I've just effectively now on Easter holiday, I've got Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, apart from I'm working half day Saturday, not working. life has decided, oh, there you go, you can have a cold. There you go. So, yeah. But effectively, I am also starting a detox as well, a toxic metal cleanse as well. So it's possibly that on top of it. So yeah, tension headaches. So the practice from here, I'm going to run through now. I'm going to have to sit on the floor and talk a bit loud and hope you can still hear. But it is very good for releasing all tension headaches in the neck and the occiput. And then I'm going to stand up and teach another couple of little bits of Dao Yin, again Taoist Qigong practices. Some of my personal favourites for more springtime and for just getting things moving. We'll get into that in a sec, but I've also got a cold, so at some point I'm going to have to stop and blow my nose. So it comes from a seated position. You can probably see this on the floor, but effectively your one foot will be tucked in against the other one. You'll be sat upright. Your arms will be out and shoulders, scapulars not winging out. They should be in and retracted down across the ribs. So shoulders are here. So you're creating space here. Tension, any kind of tension in a muscle, it means the muscle's contracting. It's in a what we call a permanent partial contraction. And that can be at any kind of like intensity. The more intense, the more pain and everything. You will start to get knots. And ultimately everything in life should move. If it's alive, it should be moving. You look at a lake, if it's not moving at all, it's going to become stagnant, get full of mosquitoes and algae and all the other kind of stuff. It's going to stink. So your body is exactly the same. Every part of your body should be alive. It should have some kind of movement. Everything in life is vibrating, and it's only that our brain stabilizes it so we can navigate. But when we are talking about the body, which is vastly made up of water, even blood plasma and everything else still has water as its base, there should be movement. And that's the air you breathe, the water within your body, the blood moving, the qi moving, all this kind of stuff. Less so in the evening, more yin times, more restful times, more so in the daytime. So we're going to do this one first, and then we'll get a bit more into the talk of stagnation, etc. So from a seated position, if you start from a easy pose, just extend one leg out. The other leg can be up against or underneath. It's not really an issue because you're not stretching it in this sense. You just have one leg out straight. So I'm going to move this way a little bit. So, okay, toes are, well, foot is flexed effectively, so toes are up. So I'll do it from this way. It's probably better actually. It's better. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so from here, you want to be square over the straight leg. Hands, shoulders, scapulars retracted, hands out in front, palms out. And from that, keeping that posture, as you breathe in through your nose, turn your head to your left, keeping the crown at the top, back straight, and breathe out, return to the center. Breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out 20 times. So 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4, 4, or you can do 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 2, 2, up to you. But it really, if you keep correct posture and really fanatically sort of correct every little thing, you will decompress all this tension at the back of your neck, and it has worked for me. Literally, I didn't even do the full set of 20. You then switch to the other leg and do that side. Again, hands are here, over the front leg, in line with the front leg. Breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out, breathe in, breathe out. At a pace, at your pace. The longer and more drawn out you can make them, the slower and more controlled you're making the movements, but also the better you're working your lung capacity for breath. Okay, from that, once you've done both sides, 20 on each side, you then come back to a seated pose. You can do this on a chair if you are like wheelchair bound or that kind of stuff. Just work the upper half. This practice is for the shoulder girdle, for the traps, for tension in the head and all that kind of stuff. So that's its primary function. So from that, from wherever you are, from a seated position, etc., you then go through that same process that's been in a couple of the other ones I've done in these previous videos, where you chatter your teeth together 36 times. I get why, but I'm not a fan of it personally. But I prefer the other version I learned years ago, which is to effectively, like if you were using mouthwash or like coconut pulling, that kind of push pull through the teeth and making the cheeks expand that way. I would do 36 of those. That was the way I was originally taught. 36 of those, and then you run your tongue around your teeth 9 times that way, 9 times that way. Then you swallow. So by that time you should have built up saliva in the mouth. You then swallow. Try to divide that into 3 portions. You breathe in, swallow, breathe out. And that breath work, when you breathe in through nose. You're always trying to breathe down to your dantian, or your lower dantian. So you're trying to breathe through, and you're in doing that process, you better utilize the diaphragm. So you breathe into here, breathe out, and with each in-breath and out-breath, you swallow 1/3 of that saliva that you've built up in the mouth, and then rest at that point. So chattering of the teeth, obviously every one of the teeth are believed to link to different meridians and organs and everything else. The wisdom teeth link to the pineal gland, etc. Some in the middle here is your stomach and all that kind of stuff. So with that, the other ones I would like to talk about realistically. So there are some other bits in this book, but it's kind of going into poetry, and Chinese poetry doesn't really translate very well into English. But ultimately, yeah. So the only bit I'm going to read from here is actually just a piece from Deming Dao. It's not like one of the other bits. So we do not wish for spring. Spring gives life to wish. So it is all life kicking back in effectively. Those who saw spring return each year and who thought it was natural that we should have spring return to our bodies each year as well. So obviously, spring is a season. All the plants kick back into life. All the animals that feed off those plants kick back into life. All the insects that feed off those plants kick back into life. It just makes sense that we do exactly the same, because we are born of the same carbon, everything that everything else comes from in this world of form that we acknowledge. Okay, so does also put some other bits. Obviously, it's saying like our bodies consists of millions of cells. Some of them die each day, others are born each day. So yes, autophagy, cell regeneration, etc. So before this video becomes too long, I'm just going to talk about, again, so talking about spring, so talking about liver and gallbladder. So talking about the purpose of the liver channel is to move qi. So especially, well, to move qi around the body, but in doing so, qi is the energy that moves blood. Blood doesn't have this. I mean, now we know through work like Victor Schauberger and I think Euler as well kind of did all these things. But Schauberger was the one that really focused on the heart. So the heart is not the way we're taught about the heart having these like quadrants and it being this thing that pumps. It's not. The heart is effectively like a huge tongue, which is why the tongue and the heart are linked in TCM. But the heart is actually one long strand of muscle that is coiled around in itself, and as every muscle tenses, it draws in and releases. If it's coiled around itself, and as all of that tenses, the whole thing just pushes and pumps blood out, draws blood back in, pumps blood out, draws blood back in, and it's this suction motion, and it creates this kind of vortex pulling in throughout the entire body. So it is, and the heartbeat is there before any brain or spine or nervous system, before anything that is visible under microscopy is there in a human embryo. The heartbeat is there beating. What is it beating? So it's a place of consciousness. This is our mind to the Chinese, and it always has been, always will be. This is a brain, you know. The pineal gland and the pituitary gland, you would argue, are glands that are affiliated with the connection to the divine. They are also what release things like dopamine and norepinephrine and serotonin and etc. Neurotransmitters. Okay, so getting back to the subjects, the liver is to move qi to the extremities, such as the head, the brain, the hands, the feet, the genitals, the womb, all of these kind of things. So when you exercise, if you're doing something like cycling, the liver will be pushing qi towards, and therefore qi moving blood towards the legs to carry oxygen to the muscles, etc. Qi stagnation. Qi stagnation is a big thing in the West. The Chinese are far more aware of it because it historically goes back thousands of years, but they know that, and you'll see people get up in the morning and they will like scream and shout and they are shaking, and they are also getting their lymphatic system moving and they're getting their spleen and all that kind of stuff going, getting blood moving, taking deep breaths, getting fully oxygenated, and they will do all this and hydrate, and they hydrate their fascia and everything. It's a much, in the West we have just got so used to, and I know people who still to this day will be on their phone before they even get out of bed. You know, that is a key thing for Qi stagnation, and that will lead to all sorts of physical things, which will also lead to depression, etc. So getting out in nature and taking deep breaths and going for walks, all this kind of stuff is a good thing. Dance, literally not like a formal dance, not like an upright and rigid sort of type thing, but just however you want to move to whatever music that gets you there is another good thing. Tai Chi is a very good thing. Daoyin and any form of Qigong is a good thing as well for that. Although I would say Qigong, that is kind of, a lot of Qigong tends to be very static and just holding a certain posture, or it tends to be kind of move but holds a certain kind of posture. They're not so good for Qi stagnation. You want something that's going to move that. One of the main places you'll get Qi stagnation, and you'll really notice, is in the bowel. So if you get Qi stagnation, we call liver invading small intestine. That's a Western way of looking at it, but realistically it's Qi stagnation in the small intestine, and that is where people who get like can be constipated for a couple of days and then have diarrhea for a day, and they're constipated for a couple of days, diarrhea for a day, or some variant of that, different ratio. So a good one for that is to go back to these 9 gates, which I taught, and I also have on my Instagram page as well, pushing in. And your in-breath is what's fighting against the pressure of your fingers. You do the first gate, second gate, third gate down, and then fourth and fifth. I go in with the thumbs personally. Fifth and sixth and seventh, and then eighth and ninth. Although actually it's that way, but yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So in line with these 3, you can just go 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and it's easier to remember. But that is that, and you breathe in, and on the last one you breathe right out and push right in, and you circle when you break down that kind of fascia that's in that area, and that helps. Another one is to bend your knees, relax your ankles, so you're in this kind of flat-backed, bent knee, seated position, and then you just turn, and this all comes from your obliques, internal and external obliques, which are the muscles that kind of attach here, like top of the ilium to the bottom of the ribs, all of this lumbar sacral sort of area, and these contract to allow you to turn, and this is what you use when you throw or shot put, that kind of stuff. So these kind of twists are very good for getting stuff moving, and then up and down, so much like if you were catching a ball, throwing a ball, netball, basketball, drop. And again, the lower back stays flat, and you just the arms just go. You'll see kids do this, and naturally you watch an adult try to do this, they are rigid and they're doing it all with the arms, because we are so fixated on control, so fixated on not getting it wrong, that kind of thing. Something that's just been taught into us over the last, definitely through the industrial age, all this go, 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 conform. So letting go in first thing in the morning, all that kind of stuff, and then doing all that kind of moving, getting everything moving, and then doing like a stillness meditation, some breath work, etc. will help. And I'm going to leave it there because we're almost at 20 minutes, but there's all sorts of other exercises I would like to throw in there, so I might do that tomorrow, which are like these, which are all very good for gallbladder. So working up this gallbladder points here, etc. So, and I will stick to this setup for the next few days because I want to teach a few sort of liver, gallbladder, Qigong, Taoist type practices throughout. That's it. I'm not going to read anything from the Tao Te Ching because there's nothing really in there that's in line with today. That is 20 minutes. So tomorrow I'm going to try and keep to 10 minutes. That is one of my aim for all of them. But today was just a big subject, and it's kind of making me realize how much more there is that can be for the next few days. Okay, my name's Ollie, Red Sun Horizons, Eastern Physiotherapy, South of England, etc. I will leave it there for today, and I will see you tomorrow.